Time to get agitated, Bobcat fans. It's time for Bobcat Tracks with Uncle Jake Ramada and Mighty Mike Schultze.
Happy first day of classes from us here at Bobcat Tracks in Ohio Athletics. Schulze and I were not in classes, so
Suckers.
suckers. But anyway, no, we have to say happy first day of classes and happy syllabus week.
Yes. We did 6 years of that, Jake.
Yeah, we did. We did 6 years of syllabus week, and I can honestly say that it was just an extended week of summer vacation with a little bit of responsibility. But
a lot of degrees, Ohio degrees in this room.
A lot of Ohio degrees in this room.
7.
Yeah, 7 with Steiner.
Steiner's 3. We have 2 each.
Yeah. Taylor
Math,
Stronach, our GA, is back.
She doesn't have a.
She's working
does
on
not
her,
have an Ohio degree.
Yeah, but she's working on it now.
And Jordan doesn't. Either.
And Jordan's. What do you have, Jordan? Yeah,
Grand Valley State.
Yeah, yes, that's right.
Yeah,
so
Taylor has a degree from UIndy, but not here.
She'll be a Bobcat eventually. But she gets a pass because she works for us.
Sure.
So,
well,
right.
Jordan does too.
Yeah.
Not for us, but works for Ohio
Yes.
Athletics.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, so that's our office right now. We are inconveniencing everyone's workday by taping this podcast for you, the listeners. Which, by the way, thanks for listening wherever you're getting your podcasts: Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music. You can tell Alexa to play Bobcat Tracks, and she will. Watching on YouTube, you can listen on the Varsity Network app. That's also where you get your coaches shows and all of your other radio broadcasts as well. We are everywhere. So if you're not listening to us, I don't know why. But anyway,
sure.
Thanks so much for listening. I should say this, Schulze, since we've joined the Varsity Network app, we've only had a couple of episodes posted. We have over 700 downloads this month from like 5 episodes.
You can't do your bit anymore.
Yeah, that no one's listening.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, everyone's listening.
Dead, thank God.
It is. It is dead. Thank God. So a little bit of. I guess sponsor news on our front. LaBatt Blue still sponsors Bobcat Tracks. If you did not scan the QR code for the Penn State trip, that's okay. Bummer on you because you are missing out on the ultimate Bobcat road trip by going to Happy Valley. But you can still go to Kroger or wherever there is a LaBatt Blue display in the Athens market. Athens Kroger does have ones by the sushi section. I've been there. It looks awesome. There's a ton of LaBatt Blue there too. But what I'm trying to get at is you can still win something. If you scan the QR code, LaBatt Blue will, if you do win, you can get a homecoming experience, Tower Club tickets, you get dinner, and of course, you get to go to Bobcats football and you get to enjoy some Tower Club tickets, which that's a cool premium spot to watch a Bobcats football game. So you still have an opportunity. Go scan the QR code, and that's that.
Or click the link on Twitter.
Or and if you're not in the Athens market, you can go to Ohio Bobcats Twitter. We should probably tweet that out again, but whatever.
Yeah.
You can click the link on Twitter and sign up from there. So everybody from California to Florida to New York, wherever you are in the States, you can. Your only responsibility from there is to, I guess, come to Athens.
Yeah. That's
your only responsibility. But anyway, not only does school start this week, Schulze, but Ohio Athletics has started this week. Soccer, volleyball has had some scrimmages. Field hockey's had some exhibitions, which we'll get to with Allie Johnstone in our next episode. But, what do we got going on in Ohio Athletics?
Yeah, you want me to recap the week here, Jay?
Recap the week, baby.
Yeah, so we had soccer played a couple games. They played Duquesne. They lost 2-1 in the opener on the road. And then they looked really good against Xavier, nationally ranked team, 24th in the country, Xavier. They drew with them 0-0.
Yeah.
Lost a lot on defense to hold a nationally ranked opponent to scoreless is pretty good. And we got a few chances, just couldn't convert. So it was a really good showing for soccer in Cincinnati at Xavier on last night, which would be Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah.
Volleyball exhibition, lost to Marshall.
Yep.
Green and white scrimmage. You can check out the interviews there with Olivia Margulies, the senior, and also head coach Jeff Carlson on Ohio Volleyball's Twitter. Of course, Jeff Carlson's job is to not be satisfied, and you'll learn in the interview that he wasn't satisfied. But, I think they'll be pretty good. They got a lot coming back, and we'll do some more volleyball stuff this week. They go to Kentucky this weekend.
Yeah, a little bit, some stuff to work on, and that's what those are for. It was great to see Lauren Park back and healthy, jumping well, got the knee brace on, but I think she's going to wear the knee brace forever. So that was my biggest takeaway is she looked healthy and ready to go.
Yeah.
And Sam Steele looked pretty good too.
Yeah, she did.
So good outing, work out some kinks,
Yep.
and Marquette on Friday.
Yep.
Or excuse me, Saturday. Marquette on Saturday in Lexington, 4 o'clock, and then Sunday at Kentucky. That's on the SEC network. If you get that channel, it's at 4 o'clock, and they are number 11 in the country right now.
Yeah, and the last time Ohio went to Kentucky, they faced the Wildcats were number 12 in the nation, and the Bobcats ran away with an upset, which was cool.
Yeah.
Very fun to call up. So, I mean, will history repeat itself? We'll see. And I think this team could open some eyes.
Yeah, a couple other sporting events on Sunday.
Yep.
Field hockey opens their season at home on Sunday against Cal Berkeley. That's at noon here in Athens, so come on out to that one. And then soccer's on the road at Marshall down in Huntington, 7 p.m.
Yep, and we covered an episode with Allie Johnstone about Cal coming to Athens, and stay tuned because that's a fun conversation with her. Anything else? I don't think. I mean, football's in a couple of weeks. FAU in that home opener, so we've got time there.
Yeah, second scrimmage in the books.
Yeah,
was on Saturday.
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Parker Navarro looked really good. As the backup quarterback, he was with the twos, or he was with the threes, excuse me.
Yeah.
C.J. Harris looked good too. Curtis looked good. So that quarterback competition's really heating up. And a couple great touchdown catches. Keegan Wilburn had a great catch in the end zone. And so did fill me in here.
Jacoby Jones.
Yes, Jacoby Jones, JUCO transfer.
Yeah.
He looked really good too. So a lot of good from the offense. In the second scrimmage for Ohio.
Drew Greer is our guest today. He actually was one of Ohio football's guest speakers, and the idea came to us that we should have him also on the podcast, and obviously a great idea. I thought it was a great idea.
Great idea by us.
Yeah, great idea by
genius.
Yeah, yes, great idea by us. Nobody else. Shout out Ryan O'Connor. But he came in to talk to Ohio football about student branding and name, image, and likeness, and we got into branding too. He worked at Nike for a couple of years. He mentions Ralph Lauren and a quick little stint at Under Armour too.
Yep.
So we in our branding minds, you more than me honestly, because branding is in your title. But fun conversation. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, he was on the pop culture side a lot. So he worked with Jay-Z, Rockefeller, and Wu-Tang Clan. And, like it's just the who's who.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
and any Nike collab.
Yeah,
he was working on.
Yeah, and also he played football here for anybody. Any younger listener that may have not have heard of Drew, he did play football here. He was two-time All-Conference, had a great career. We also talk about his career. Our older Bobcat fans probably will remember Drew. But Cali guy came to Athens to play football, and he did, and he had a pretty good career.
Yeah.
So also a little bit, you will hear some skips in audio here and there. Drew got a little colorful at times with his language in this interview. So if anything slipped, I'm sorry, I must have missed it. But so please accept any apologies if I do miss a word here and there.
Sure.
But obviously the FCC's not coming for us.
Nope.
But our athletics director
your boss
might. So Julie, sorry, but I tried to get as many as I could. But anyways, here is Drew Greer, our podcast guest today. Drew, thanks so much for your time. This is amazing.
Come on, cut it out. Family, baby, family. I'm in town.
You made the trek, man. So
yes. Okay.
We got to thank you for that.
Coming back to Mecca, right?
Yes,
coming back home. Roots.
Well, let's start with you're back.
Yes.
Why are you back? I mean, because bringing you back is a big deal. So why are you back?
They're preparing for the season, and I'm like position myself maybe be the third, fourth running back off the bench, possibly.
Oh, there you go. I don't know if Julian Ross is going to like that.
Yes. It's like, I got the itch. I don't have the stamina, but I have the itch. So I was thinking maybe. No, actually came back because I started an agency called BrandIAM.
Okay.
And we consult brands as relates to my background in the sneaker industry and just branding as a whole. But we also concentrate on NIL.
Yeah.
And the educational component, we have these 12 student-athlete brand commandments. My partner, Gene Smith, who played on Georgetown's '84 national championship team, and I worked with him at Nike because he was there 20 years where I was there just under 15. Mm-hmm. We started this agency, and both being former athletes, him on the basketball side, me on the football side, and then working for Nike. We have a unique background as it relates to the NIL space of being able to use our corporate experience but understand what it is like to compete. And we have these 12 student-athlete brand commandments that sort of set them up for sort of do it yourself. We do offer one-on-one services, but our deal is we're trying to educate student athletes on what it is to build a brand. For instance, you don't have to be the best player to take advantage of NIL. The NIL Student of the Year is this cat named Chase Griffin that's the third-string quarterback at UCLA. So that's the first thing. Students are brands. It's just athletes have bigger exposure. Why not maximize that? You know, social media, amongst other things, they have much more exposure. Why not leverage that to be able to get after that? And, you know, as we sort of discussed, if it's, you know, you score 8 touchdowns and you're prepared, kind of walking cool, you know, when nobody's looking, so you're prepared for those days. Or if you get injured, you're aligned to, you know, connect with alums. Maybe you want to get into podcasting or, you know, get into sales or some of those things. If you're able to set that up with your brand earlier on, you're prepared either way. Because from our perspective, going after the bag, that's short-term thinking, and that's all relying on your athletic ability. Where building a brand is longevity, and like my podcast called Got Sauce, that's sauce, versus juice, that kind of comes and goes, that expires. With sauce, that's sticky, that stays around, and that's what we're looking to help them build.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good you know, core agency, right? Sneaker legend Gene Smith. There were 5 NBA players in that Georgetown team.
Wow.
Patrick Ewing, right?
I got a fact. I got something for you, and I'm going to share this with the players later on. Al Davis brought him into camp, and he tried out with the Raiders.
Wow.
So he got drafted by the Pacers, tried out with the Raiders, and also tried out for 2 Olympic teams.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was kind of on the forefront of. Because right now that's normal, right?
Right.
With Mo Alley Cox and
right, they're bringing folks over.
Right.
His problem is from D.C. really wasn't a football player, and
Right.
I tease him all the time. You guys wouldn't remember this guy, but there's a guy named Kenny King that used to play for the Raiders. I think Kenny King might have run him over a few times and decided to take it back to basketball or working for Nike. That's what I tease him about. But the interesting thing is that he has 3 sons. One's 2 years old, so yes, his stuff still works. But one played at Toledo.
okay.
Kenny Stafford, and actually is Chris Carter's nephew as well.
Oh.
He played receiver and played actually in Canada, and then his other son played at Colgate.
Oh. Okay.
Nat Bellamy. So, in essence, I think football was kind of in his DNA,
Yeah,
so to speak. He was just in D.C. and then basketball was the sport of choice.
Right.
So to speak. Yeah.
Right. I mean, DMV basketball is like
Yes.
it's a different world, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's a true D.C. guy. He's a D.C.er.
Oh yeah.
He's because the difference. You get there, you say DMV, but Virginia's Virginia.
Right. Yeah.
DC,
right,
Maryland,
right,
Maryland.
Right. Yeah. So, how's it feel to be back in Athens?
All the changes, I'm a little jelly, aka jealous. I'm like, if I'd had this weight room, indoor facilities. When I got here, I was a California transfer, JUCO transfer. Man, it was so cold. Can I cuss or do I got to keep it?
You cuss?
Yeah, it's a podcast.
It was so fucking cold, man. I had to put tape on my ear holes, dude. Like I was like, we played Central Michigan. And, we weren't the best. We weren't have the. We're mid-major.
Yeah.
Right.
Dude, we played the first half. Freezing rain, going at halftime, no change of clothes.
Was that here or in Mount Pleasant?
Mount Pleasant.
Oh, well, that
brutal.
Go back out and the wind hit me.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a backup running back to go in. They were like, no. And then my helmet came off and slid across the turf. I was like, okay, maybe I should have went to Cal State Fullerton.
That's funny. That's funny. What changed? What's the change that really stuck out when you came back?
Well, obviously, Slowich's footprint on the program, even though last year was a disappointing year, obviously in the transition and COVID and all the things that get it, but just you could taste a little bit more expectations are much higher, and it feels like much more support. Yeah. The facilities are incredible, and then just listening to some of the vision that's coming out of the program. That's where I want to help in. That I have, working for Nike doesn't bother, but lending some of the experience as alum from a sweat equity standpoint to help build brands, help build experience from the players to the school all the way around. But just seeing the vision, you know what I mean? It seemed like during my era, not bashing, just kind of into the moment. We played Iowa, Vanderbilt, and LSU, and a season. We built this press box that you're sitting in right now, basically. But I had 100 yards against LSU.
Oh,
okay, 95, but we're going with 100.
Sure.
Right? I mean, we're rounding up. We're rounding up this point.
Yeah.
But just really, and I learned later that, and not bashing Ping or any of that, but it's very important for your president to really support athletics. And I can tell you, I know McDavid did that, and there's some transition going, but you can feel that investment where I didn't know during my era, but I think that was the gap. And, you know, I think sports are, you know, valuable in many ways, but it really brands the school, and because that's part of the student experience.
Right. Right. I mean, yeah, there's so much brand equity built, right, when you're on ESPN. There's an Ohio helmet on ESPN, right, on Tuesday night or a Saturday afternoon.
Right.
And Roderick McDavis did a wonderful job of starting that, and I think President Sherman's continuing that right now.
And I have not met her, but I'm excited. Just, you know, woman president, you know what I mean? It seems like she's very, you know, AD.
Yeah.
Very, you know, aggressive and developing strategies and getting after it. I think right now, and again, I keep going back to this, but with NIL, it's open season, particularly for mid-majors. Are they going to compete with Ohio State's? No, but from a mid-major, it's open shot right now. You know what I mean? So whoever strategizes, get after it. And the strategy isn't going to be an outspin. It's going to be out-strategize. Okay. You know, I was talking, you know, if there aren't as many companies here to get after, maybe you recruit in a certain area and you get after the companies that you're going to have to think of different ways to brand it. But I like when there's challenges like that, and you know the best strategy wins. Yeah,
we talk a lot about with our student athletes right now about how, you know, they're probably the best player on their high school football team. They're probably stars in their hometowns, and they need to utilize that as much as possible, because they were probably the best player.
Right.
In Worcester, Ohio, or whatever small town they're from, and there is a company, a business that would work with them if they put in the work.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what they have to realize. That's one of the points I want to make these kids today. NIL is a class. It requires investment. You're not just, you know, if you just get a bag, you're not building a brand. So we talked about the short-term thinking of that, but I actually think it should be a class where you actually teach these kids how to get at, even regular students, because in the day, the resume days are over. You know, it's LinkedIn and marketing and branding yourself, even from a social media. As soon as you meet somebody, if it's to go on a date or to hire them, first thing you do is go into the digital space and you're trying to see, find out has this dude murdered anybody? You know what I mean? Like, what's he, you know, or what she likes. So I just think it becomes important. Like, that's the first thing when I work with kids. Like, I like set up a LinkedIn account.
Yeah.
Because why not start now? You have the ability to connect with alums, connect with individuals. Like, my era was a letter in a bottle. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't get to anybody. Where now you have access, and you know, it's kind of like being in a club. You ask her to dance, or if you send somebody inbox and they say no, you just keep it moving. You know what I mean? But at least you have that possibility versus not even being in the party.
Yeah. Ryan O'Connor sent us your presentation, and one thing that stuck out to me was you said I'm not a businessman. I'm a business, man.
Right.
Well, you know,
Jay-Z.
I like that.
But the deal is like a lot of these kids don't understand that you have to open an account. You have to file taxes. You need an LLC. It's beyond just getting the bag, but it's also a good opportunity for practical experience to teach these kids that will become leaders how to do these, you know, these different activities. So it's great. It's practical. I mean, during my era, you studied so much. Like, I love history now.
Okay.
I love history. I lived in Amsterdam. I've traveled the world the whole nine. But part of it's because I experienced it. I hated history in school because I had some teacher that's never been to D.C. teaching me history. You know? Like, I think history should start locally, and that's where I also think from a learning standpoint, like, you can have practical experience or even challenging the kids. Are you operating on brand? You know, we set out what your brand is. Like, is your conduct match? You know, there's different ways. It can be a check and balance. You know, that's just I just think it's wonderful. It's leverage right, but also the coaches need to be doing it. They need to be branding themselves, and I'm hoping to lead by example, but also to maximize their careers and their situations, because, you know, in some cases they get just as much trouble as the players. But you know what I mean, as far as a cadence and, you know, making sure that they're on brand as it relates to, you know, the university. But at the end of the day, like, I'm gonna tell the kids, you know, I'm a Bobcat, so we have some shared branding. Like one of the practices I talk about is association. You think of Wu-Tang. You know, they had a collective brand, and then they had the individual brands. That's the same thing as it relates to the team or even positions. You know, we were the Fresh RBs when I was here. So then there's, you know, I'm the real Uncle Drew. You know what I mean? So that's sort of this split branding of there's opportunity. You could do camps, DB camp, or running back camp, or, you know, things that you do individually as it relates to NIL.
In terms of your career, what are you most proud of?
That's interesting. Taking chances.
Yeah.
Taking chances. Like, you know, Run DNC didn't necessarily go to retail, and I did as well, but I really remixed or combining sneakers with music artists and doing product, and now Kanye sort of taking advantage of it. I got written up for that. But now it's a strategy. And just sometimes you have to take calculated risks to do dope is what I talk about it, that changes the game, but you got to be willing to take those risks, but have done your homework and dug in and know that you do the right thing. And I've taken those risks throughout my career. Some have been more favorable than others, but I think at the end of the day, you look at my math, it's pretty positive on my impacts, and it's sauce and not juice. It's long-term impact versus, you know, short-term.
So how did you get in the business?
So I was part of the sports ad program, interned at Georgia Tech in their athletic program. Well, prior to that, I graduated from Ohio U in environmental health, worked as a health inspector. Realized that pocket protectors and metal desks wasn't my shit. So
that's a hell of a change, man.
Well, I didn't know, you know, I'll give you even a better story. So when I first got here, I didn't declare a major. So I'm at a party. Dude looks at me and says, "What college you in?" I said, "I go here, man. Same place you do." I didn't realize it would be different. So I was the first male in my family to graduate from college. Just so you know, I came a long way. So I ended up getting an environmental health degree, you know, just trying to rush to get out, but realized it wasn't my passion. I'm going to talk to the kids about this, about cashing your passion. So I came back and got in the sports ad program, which is obviously, you know, world-renowned. Interned at Georgia Tech. I was in the fundraising department, realized that wasn't for me as well. So I went back to, in Atlanta, this was during the Freaknik era, went back to the health department, working as a health inspector. And then I had two former Bobcats that were also sports ad grads were working for Nike, Jason LaBeach and Chris Mobley. I'm like, oh shit, you can work for a sneaker brand? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just seemed so far away and so sort of fantasy-like. And I started as an Ekin. Almost didn't want to leave Atlanta to move back home to Los Angeles, but it's a tech rep. And Ekin is Nike spelled backwards. You're like a brand ambassador. You educate sales associates in stores on the product, which is important to Nike, with the technology, who's in it, da-da-da. But also write reports on what's going on. And it ended up being great for me because LA is so diverse. And the diversity, you know, from Orange County to the hood to, you know, Latinos to running to, you know, all the sports, it really set me up to, you know, from a brand as well as product management sort of standpoint. So I took over limited edition, like it was a $30 million business, like that's nothing in sort of Nike, like, and I took it about 500. Now it's like 7 billion. They're using the base strategy that I put in place, and that sort of gained my rep just earlier on because Nike was into just reinventing themselves every 90 days, but they had this coveted product that, you know, was sort of unrecorded demand, and in a lot of ways it influenced Jordan because Jordan was just doing team colors and maybe a navy. They seen our formula and took it and start bringing back products and remixing them, much like we were doing with Nike's archives. And then I did the first sneaker collaboration between Nike and a skate brand, this brand called Alpha Numeric, Kid Alyasha. But that set up SB. So if you look at the exciting things that's going on with Nike right now, what we did in the early days, and I was part of sort of leading or led, is really what running the industry right now, so to speak. So that is kind of how I entered in. But I've worked for Ralph Lauren, Supra, which is a skate brand, even though I'm not a skater, but, you know, I know that lifestyle from a Southern California standpoint. And then most recently internally, I was VP at Under Armour for a little bit there. But yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. They don't necessarily get it. As you can see, they have an Under Armour store in Athens, and they're not an Under Armour school anymore.
That's bizarre.
Yes,
it?
yeah. I mean, that's just kind of that's a lot of juice. You know what I mean?
Right.
They were about juice and not necessarily making sauce.
Yeah, the Under Armour. I've always wondered why that is. Like what the strategy was behind the Under Armour store.
I have no idea. So I was asking, do you realize this deal's expired? Why is this thing sort of still going on? But I mean, that's just been this sort of emptiness. They had success earlier on, operating very much on juice, protect this house, very football, but doing more dancing for Wall Street, and jumped into footwear and some other or expanding too wide in categories and not having the culture to match. So that's where you get exposed, because you have to have the internal culture that matches those categories that you're looking to get into, versus just looking at the dollar signs. And I think that's been their failure.
They really should have expanded their football.
I think they should have just dominated football to where
Right.
they just nailed it, and they got a little taste and started going wide, where there was still, to me, business they needed to do within football to to just plant themselves within that space. Where now they've left gap opens where another one is Champion had a shot. I think Champion could have took Under Armour's business, but they got lazy licensing with their footwear, and footwear ends up being a bunch of knockoff stuff. But the other thing is that when you spread across channels, so if you're selling at Walmart all the way to a sneaker boutique, you got to have differentiation. If there's not much differentiation, the consumer gets smart and it's like, I'm gonna wait for that to go on sale, or I'm gonna buy the similar version at Walmart, versus you developing different products, so there's different experiences, different value points.
Right. Yeah, that's really interesting. Champion's kind of making a comeback, though, right? Do you like
no,
that?
They're failing now, though. That's
Oh,
what I'm saying.
they?
They had a run. They're much like the run Under Armour had, and now they're starting to decline right now, based off of some of the stuff I told you now. But yes, they definitely had a shot.
Yeah, they were popular again almost.
Right. I'm saying they had it.
They lost it again.
Right. I'm just closer to the industry. Yeah. They're telling down hard, and a lot of that has to do with them getting into footwear.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You get into footwear, that's a different combo than the apparel, and somebody want to get into it because it's the price per pair and the increased revenue, but it could destroy your brand and expose you quite a bit quickly as well, versus being much more patient and maximizing the moment.
What's it like, taking on, like, when you take on such a major brand at Nike? Are you nervous? Or are you what's your thought process, right? Like when you're making that strategy?
Well, I'll put it this way: when I went to interview for Nike, and no disrespect to Ohio University, I don't know if you've been to, if you ever Google, look at the campus. When I looked at the campus, I looked around. I loved Ohio University, but this is my shot for going to the Big Five conference. So when I interviewed, you know what I mean, I did my thing, but it was based on that environment. But once you get in there, it's so competitive, and everybody's a storyteller and former athletes and passion, that it becomes, you're not only competing against the brands outside, it's really an internal competition. It's like the standard, a level of not wanting to outdo each other, wanting to see how much you can engage or inspire or take the consumer somewhere to another level. I love getting paid, so don't get me wrong. But one of my best experiences is seeing somebody walk down the street with some footwear I worked on, not knowing I worked on it, and having that dip in their step, you know what I mean? And not knowing I had anything to do with it, because that's just a natural currency. They're not doing that because they know you're involved, you know what I mean? You're not influencing. That's just sort of pure love for the effort. Or even an event, putting on an experience and seeing everybody have a great time, and they don't know that you haven't slept and, the strategy that went into it. They just know the end product.
Yeah. You have a single favorite, did I interrupt?
No, I was actually going to ask that question too. If you have a single favorite product that you worked on.
Yeah.
I mean, the all-time best seller is Air Force Ones.
Yeah.
The thing I find funny, and don't take this the wrong way, but now you got suburban white girls wearing dirty Air Force Ones, and it's something that we planted in a very urban environment. So to see it, migrate all the way it's kind of mind-blowing. You know what I mean? It's very mind-blowing.
Was that the plan?
No, the plan was, just to keep it special. You know what I mean? We treated sneakers like milk. They expire in 30 days. You know what I mean? So that's what we're judged on. We wanted to sell through the, you know, the product. That was sort of the strategy. And with that, you can build a business. But most people are impatient. You know, I'd rather be up 10% for 20 years than up 200% for 2 years. You know what I mean? That's what typically happens, that you oversaturate and oversell it, then you lose it. But if you see that patience, Air Force One's a perfect case. It's something that we just sold in the urban environments. But that patience, now it's sold all over the world, as well as it's in suburbia. It naturally migrated. You let the consumers adopt it versus saturating the market and lose its specialness.
Yeah. I listened to the Complex podcast. How's it talking to those guys over at Complex? They're a legendary brand.
It was good, you know, kind of coming through the years. That's the brand's really sneakers really becoming commercial, and I like that sort of success. But there's something about the OGs that kind of got overlooked, kind of like even hip hop. You know what I mean? Like the originals, you know, the vibes, the sources, you know, the early days. But the show was good. I liked it because I was able to share a lot of stories. I have stories that Nike doesn't even have, because at the time I was running the business, they didn't care. They were all about performance. So that's why I got to do a lot of things I'm doing. And then once things sort of took off, then the room gets crowded. And that's typically what happens in corporate America. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I call it creating rooms. And once that room gets crowded, I want to go to another room, and you can have that room and kind of do something else. Yeah.
Have you ever had anything that went wrong? At least like campaigns were like, that one didn't work. We thought this would do well, but it
yes, definitely. One of the first thing of is when I lived in Amsterdam, and I was assigned kind of urban and basketball, which are secondary categories. I mean, put it this way, like, you know, in Europe, it's global football, or AKA soccer.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a distant second too. And put it this way, when Kobe scored 81 points, I rushed into work and nobody gave a I'm just like, yo, what the heck? But taking global football, I looked at, I can do a street line. I could take, you know, global football or soccer products and, you know, make them hip and urban. But what you find in Europe is those guys don't even, you know, they do more now, but they didn't really wear athletics off the pitch. You know what I mean? They're in the Armani suit, you know what I mean? Like, suits
Fashion,
is much slicker. Look, even from a lot of the West Africans and some of the other, because they're emulating what's going on in France and the rest of the places. And those guys, you know, hooligans are the only ones who really wear jerseys and that sort of deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like your general fans don't sort of do that. And I was trying to take a U.S. formula and apply it to Europe versus listen, and that was one of my greatest lessons. The other was I wasn't acceptive of social media. I was at Nike. We got training on it early. Yeah, there's this thing coming, social media. I was like, man, ain't nobody right. I'm cool in real life, but I was off in that. And that taught me now that I have to keep listening and stay curious. And when I meet young people, I make sure to let them know, because I call myself the real Uncle Drew, that I have a perspective, but I can learn from you as well. And it should be a cross-pollination. Don't think because I'm the vet that, you know, everything just comes my way. I think it could be even exchange, because especially now with the digital divide, there's stuff going on in that generation that I won't understand or won't be as instinctive to me, but I can learn from them. But obviously, my experience can sort of assist them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The real Uncle Drew.
Yes.
Kyrie hasn't come for you?
No, he don't want none. Because we're going on the football field. We ain't doing hoops. Or we do 1-on-1. No, but it's like I'm the real, like, that's what I'm looking at. I'm not the hater. Like, I seek out. I've struggled sometimes because of different standards in us. But the younger generation, I seek out those guys and try to lend my. I didn't have that. When I left Ohio, my resume, I was putting how many yards I rushed for. Like, what the like I was going to be running up and down the hallway. But I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like I want to, you know, give those mistakes and being able to ask me. There's no dumb questions. Be able to ask me questions. And what I tell cats, I can give a point of view. Ask 2-3 other people. I'm not a know-it-all, but I at least give you a perspective. And I'm going to be pretty candid and I'm pretty experienced. But I didn't have that, and I kind of learned on my own, which goes back to, you know, what college you're in or any of that stuff. But letting them know that you got to start somewhere. But if every day you sort of trek it, I was the kid that didn't want to read in front of class. And I ended up becoming one of the better storytellers ever at Nike. You know what I mean? Like, and it just shows that if you invest in, or what I did was took my 5'9", 180-pound running back sort of approach, undersized underdog, and you just track every day. Next year you look around like, you're nice. You know what I mean? Like you put in the work, so to speak. It doesn't matter what you look on paper. Again, I'm 5'9", 180, 4'5'9", 4'6", but I'm 2-time All-MAC. You know what I mean? So it isn't about size or where you're at now, because one of the things we sort of talk about with branding, it's not about what you are, it's about what you're going to become. And that's why you got a plan.
You worked with mega brands, mega celebrities. You ever caught yourself a little starstruck or realized, wow, kind of working with somebody or a brand that you thought you made it?
No, because for some far reason I thought I was a star. No, but I've worked with LeBron and Kobe and many other sort of mega stars, and you just treat it like an assignment. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to make them better, do your role or whatever those dynamics are. But you have an understanding of their preparation, because although I didn't make it to the pros, D1 ball, you get an understanding of the devotion. You have a much more better appreciation for them. There's no such thing to me as natural talent. Like there's work that has to be put in, and there's that level of respect. So I took that same strategy that I did in sports, and now I'm applying it, from a branding or product creation sort of standpoint, and giving them the best they have to, and to be in that shining moment. Basketball was struggling when I said U.S. basketball for sort of Nike, which we had Durant, we had Kobe, we had LeBron. The basketball shoes weren't sort of selling that well, and we figured out what we were going to do. So one of the great successes we had was, I don't know if you guys remember Kobe jumping over to Aston Martin. That was my team that led that, but that was from a digital sort of standpoint. But that was because we didn't have funds to just buy a regular ad, and it forced us to think differently. I led it, but the digital team really pushed it of coming up with a way, and it, ended up being one of the first viral sensations from a sneaker standpoint. It showed you how you could be disruptive digitally and not have to pay for the big Super Bowl ads to get the exposure. Great content wins when put in the right environment.
Yeah, that's a legendary ad.
Yeah.
But it was a viral. It wasn't an ad.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. We were still trying to sell shoes. We weren't paying for TV.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah. I was in high school. I remember that very well.
Well, you guys are aging me now, man. Cut it out, man. The real Uncle Drew, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you see him sporting the gray suede. You guys may want to show me in my younger days when I was baby-faced Drew. Things have changed a little bit.
I do want to ask, working with Kobe.
Right.
There's got to be a story, or like a story or stories that you have working with Kobe.
Well, I first started working with Kobe was after Denver.
Okay.
When the Denver situation came. I was working in L.A. as a regional brand manager. And we knew that L.A., particularly L.A. from the hood, would be the first people that accepted him back, after that sort of situation. So I set up a grassroots program where I had, Kobe tried to front like he had been there, but he hadn't. But I had him in the barbershop, Trevor Reeser and Westchester going to their basketball games, East L.A., Boys and Girls Club, was Fox Hills Mall, which is a pretty prominent urban mall in L.A. that has longevity. I had him going within those environments to start building his brand back from that unfortunate situation. And that laid the foundation that he started getting more aggressive with it. And then by the time I had left, I was in Amsterdam and sort of worked on his jersey ended up becoming the #1 jersey sold in the NBA. You know what I mean? So that was it. It was a pretty humbling experience for him to go through that, but it was dope that he was open to changing, his patterns of behavior and integrating more into the city, because he lived in Newport Beach, which is a prominent area sort of in Orange County, versus, in the actual sort of hood, so to speak. And that was fun, sort of seeing that come about and seeing him rebuild his brand after somewhat of a crisis. But that's why brand building, that's one of the things I talk to the kids, why is this important? One of them is crisis management. If you get in trouble and they go to your social media and you're holding guns and doing crazy stuff, that doesn't plead into your case. But if you have a pretty good track record, you know what I mean, that serves as a good base to start the rebuild, but you have to be patient.
Yeah. Yeah,
Interesting.
that's very interesting.
What was I mean, the aura around LeBron when he got drafted, came to the NBA. I honestly think that's his first shoe. I think was probably the one that I remember buying, just because it was so. It was just, especially Cleveland.
Cleveland, right?
I mean, I feel like every kid in my class had that shoe. When you're working with someone that young, I mean, talking about branding and stuff. How was that?
I didn't work with him directly then, and
Okay.
then I'm a Laker fan and was working regionally in LA, and we just saw that Kobe. But to be honest with you, I'm sort of a purist. You'll find out in this industry as you sort of ask around. I struggle with that, and I wish they wouldn't have given him his first shoe. I wish even guys on LeBron's level, you get to know the athlete more. You let his game speak up, so that he's able to get there versus giving him the signature, even though he did do well as a rookie and the rest of that. Another great example is, I even wrote an article on it. I knew it was going to happen to Lonzo Ball. Dad talking him up. You're not talking innovation or, even talking about your son in the actual product. You're just talking about the price. You're going to trigger people that, they're looking for him as soon as he gets on the court. And he's had a solid career, but not great career. But I think a part of it has been damaged because his dad hyped him up sort of early on. He had his signature shoe versus he's really sort of delivered. And Durant was treated that way. I think even Kyrie was treated that way, where maybe they got a color makeup, then they got a signature shoe. But typically, you do big investment. We need it now. They want it now. But even as an athlete, I'd be like, yo, let's, pay me, but let's take it slow so my game can match up.
Yeah.
Everybody's not Mike. If you look at it, there's only one signature shoe that's, Chuck Taylor wasn't really a hooper. He's a salesman. But there's really only one signature shoe that's had longevity, and that's Jordan. And it's like, I'm not a heroin addict or base head, but it's like almost the industry is, chasing that high that's only been experienced by one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Can we go back to your time at Ohio a little bit?
Yes. Come on, baby.
Yeah.
I'm home, baby. OH10.
Yeah. What was your favorite spot on Court Street?
I have to think about that. Well, whoever is having the specials.
Yeah, smart man.
Bobcats,
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
Burrito Buggy.
Sure.
Ooh.
Souvlaki's.
Yeah.
I've kept control, but I've been known to put some recruits under the table at the Nick. I've had a couple people. I actually had one recruit on the football team that actually threw up, but he still signed. I still don't know how I did that. He threw up in the middle of the Nick, but still signed to go here. So something happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. What was your most memorable game? Or give us like a top three or.
Most memorable game was '88 homecoming, Miami, 222 yards.
Wow.
It was fun. And my backup from junior college was on Miami's team. And when I was running all over their ass, I looked at him. I said, Tim, tell these motherfuckers I ain't no joke. That was probably my most memorable game because I was JUCO transfer, first homecoming game against Miami. And that year we went undefeated at home.
Yeah.
And just ripping them apart was incredible.
I feel like anytime you can rip Miami apart.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
We tied my second year, so I could say I never lost to him.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you can, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, technically, but that was quite memorable. Really, that whole year '88 was just exciting at home. Just after they were coming off of down years, and having the great career. I ended up. Because in junior college, I set my junior college rushing record. I had over 2,100 yards. I was a honorable mention junior college All-American. So then when I came here, I took on kickoff return responsibilities. And I was a receiver and running back. But I had like 1,700 all-purpose yards that first year. But I didn't really understand it because I'm trying to get 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
But, rushing.
Right.
But I ended up having, I was averaging over 170 yards, all-purpose yards together. So I had to kind of sort of understand it. But I hold the career record for most all-purpose yards or average all-purpose yards in a career. Average like 165, I think, over I was only 2 years, but still. But yeah.
What was what was coming here? Like you mentioned JUCO transfer from the West Coast, come here. Was there a culture shock?
Definitely. Weather,
Yeah. You did kind of allude to it before playing in Mount Pleasant.
Yeah,
so.
Mount Pleasant a little bit was a little different. Dating was a little different.
Yeah.
A little bit much more conservative versus the West Coast. And then, the first thing I noticed? I was like, I ain't never seen so many fucking American cars in my goddamn life. But then I learned to understand that was supporting, the factories that a lot of people were working in. I start gaining values and understanding versus looking at things just from a, I don't want to say shallow LA standpoint, but just limited sort of standpoint that, coming to Ohio was my gateway to traveling the world. I mean, that's the first time I got on a plane was coming to Ohio. I can say that transparently, but then that gave me the comfort level that then I moved to Atlanta, New York, and eventually Amsterdam and all these sort of places, Maryland. And that gives me the ability that I can almost go anywhere in the world, and I got homies. They're going to give me the piece of the city, but also keeps me curious. I'm not scared of culture. I'm not scared of being somewhere where I'm comfortable. I've been canoeing in the middle of Indonesia. You know what I mean? I've done like some wild experiences, and the thing is, people always ask me, "What's your favorite place in the world?" And what I tell them is, I eat tacos in L.A. and I eat pizza in New York. And what I mean by that is I learned to appreciate what those cities have to offer versus trying to make some, I get drunk in Athens. But you get what I'm saying? Like, it taught me that, and I had to learn that here. The whole time I was here, I'm trying to get home, to Central Air, and, I grew up with a swimming pool and all these dynamics. But then I realized when I left, I missed it. You know what I mean? And learning to live in the moment versus trying to make, somewhere something else versus, learning what that has to offer.
How cold was Central Michigan that day, really? I got the schedule up. It was November 5th.
Brick. Badass kids from Detroit in the stands. I was like, how can you guys be having fun and I'm out here freezing my ass off?
Yeah.
But yeah. It was
November
5th. That was cold. My birthday's November 7th. So I didn't have either. I had a birthday. The other time we played Marshall, and they had sand on the turf.
Oh.
And I got sandburned.
Ooh.
And they didn't clean it out well, and got infected, man. I was dying. Yeah, that was wild. Like Huntington, you know what that environment is like. Yeah, the crowd. But I tell you something there. So typically, I no disrespect to any of the other guys, but the Juke guys that came before us didn't work out. So we pulled up. They thought the same thing, and I got hurt in spring. So they think, oh, these are the same guys. I heard the story years later. So we play Marshall, and I'm on a kickoff return, and my helmet comes off, and I'm one tackle away from taking it to the house. But I kept running. They said after that, it was like, okay, this balls right here. Like, this dude's serious. He ain't like the rest. They didn't tell me then.
Yeah.
I learned this after we were playing. They was like, yeah, after that Marshall game and your helmet was off and you kept running like on the kickoff return, it was like, okay, this dude's legit. I was like, oh, really?
What's the best environment you played in while you're in Athens?
Even though we got our ass beat, LSU was dope.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? At LSU, the visitor locker room, they have a live tiger outside the locker room in a cage.
Yeah.
So imagine walking out and seeing it. Whoa! But the environment was just 80,000 pack, kickoff return. Like, to me, the SEC isn't what it is today, what it was back then, even though it probably was. But to me, it was just all Division I. It was sort of, but that was a pretty dope environment to play in. Even though they probably could have packed another 20,000 in the stadium, but still 80,000, everybody watching you, and that's I scored. Like I said, I had 100 yards. We're gonna roll with that now, right?
Yeah.
Round up, like supersize, right? But yeah, that was probably the dopest environment. Like we played Vanderbilt, Iowa State. It's cool playing Vegas at home. That was close to home. My parents would come to one game a year, but that first year they were able to come to Vegas because that was close. So that was sort of dope. That's one of the things I'm disappointed in now is because of TV, internet. A lot of people don't get to see me play. Like I find now on YouTube and post, and like that was the first time people got to really see me play in college. They didn't know what happened. It's like I balled in JUCO and I just faded out. Because I was ranked in all-purpose yards. Some of the more sticklers that were really into the sport would see me in USA Today every day. But outside of that, there was no fanfare as related to it's like I just stopped playing, so to speak. So
yeah, I know on our YouTube channel we've been uploading a lot. We have a lot of old games. I mean,
Right.
full broadcast games. So I don't know. Do we have any?
I'm looking right now. So it's been pretty important to us that we have a pretty extensive video archive
Right.
that the public has not been able to see.
okay,
So we've been working really hard to try to get all of our. We have full games from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s that are just sitting in
very cool.
In our
OneDrive
office.
box. So
Yeah.
we're trying to get
You know
them
why
on
that's
YouTube.
you know why that's important? Because history that isn't shared dies.
Yeah.
And people don't really understand the value of that from a brand. You don't have to make that up. Like, it's real and it's there. And like we sort of talked, I'm finding out history about OU athletics as well as just general student body. I feel like if I'd have known some of this stuff, I might even play better.
Yeah.
Like, there's some history. Like, OU won, small school championships. And, there's, national championship wrestlers and, with Sweet 16 hoop squad from 16. There's all this history that I didn't know about that I'm just discovering, now that I think that somehow we need to catalog and curate that and make it so that, that should be part of the onboarding perspective as it relates to the student athletes. Like, feeding into that tradition and building the tradition of the future, the legacy of the future.
Yeah.
So I just looked. We have 4 games from '88, full games on YouTube.
Yes.
Right now. So we have Toledo, Kent State, Bowling Green, and Eastern Michigan.
I think I might have had 100 all those.
There you go.
I think I might have.
Tied Eastern Michigan.
Yes.
You were one of the last classes to play with ties.
Yeah, what, play with who?
Like with ties in college football.
Yeah,
They got rid of it shortly after that.
I think I scored that game too. I gave him a 2-piece right over there.
Yeah, well,
That
it's
was
on
pretty cool.
YouTube. We'll look it up.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and watch.
Yeah,
watch you
we will.
play.
We'll
See what
definitely
games.
do
that.
I
Yeah.
had a little get up.
Yeah.
I had a little get up, little boogie.
Well, we've been going for 45 minutes now,
Okay.
and So, do you have anything else?
I don't.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
This
This
is
flew
amazing.
by.
It
Thank you.
It does not feel like 45
Yeah.
minutes.
Hey, I appreciate it. Hey, when family gets together, you know what I mean? Just we just get to run in our mouths.
Yeah. We got to get you back for games.
Whenever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm actually think I'm gonna try to come the opener.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
Yes, I think I'm gonna try to come the because I haven't been to a game at Ohio since I left.
Yeah.
No way.
I went to the whole state game in Columbus, but I haven't been in the stadium, and I haven't been to a night game.
Oh. It's a
You know
different
what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
what I would just tell them. I think I'm coming back. So I'm doing some consulting, some things, and back and forth. So, what is it? The third?
Third. September
Yeah.
3rd, 6 o'clock kick.
Yes, it's a Saturday,
All day to
6
tailgate.
o'clock, 6 o'clock game.
6 o'clock.
And I think I want to do a Tuesday game too. I
Oh,
gotta
the
I
November
haven't done-
action
yeah.
game.
Yes, I gotta have my jacket game on.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not gonna be Jamel Holloway, so you guys will remember him. He got hurt at Oklahoma and was in the fur coat on the sideline. So I'm not coming in the fur coat. But
Why not?
I definitely gotta have my my jacket game on.
Yeah. Yeah. Might have to have 2 depending on the night, but
No hoodie.
Yeah.
But I'm a California guy, so
Yeah.
we wear long johns. Proudly.
Yeah.
Proudly.
No, I get it.
Proudly.
I
Stealth, but proudly.
I stay up on the 5th floor for a reason. I get
Yeah,
it.
right. Oh, you're inside. You're
Yeah.
presidential suite.
Yeah.
You're presidential suite. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meanwhile, all the camera guys are out there. And I was down there in like 6 layers last night. He's up here cozy. In the
I want to be with the chocolate and hot chocolate and coffee and snacks.
Okay.
Get
We'll
it
make
early.
it
though.
happen.
Get it early. Get it early though, because
Yes, it's gone.
It goes like this.
Yeah. So you know, huh?
Oh,
Strategize.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So do you guys go? You have a pregame, pregame swoop.
Well, we got to work.
Yeah, since
so
we work,
our
no.
AD's listening, so we're not pre-gaming anywhere. We can't.
So you're not pregaming any drinks or no
We're
snacks?
working.
You don't have runners?
Well,
You're supposed to have the golfers.
we're recording still, man.
But you can still sneak the chicken
sure.
There's always a Chick-fil-A game. We'll say that.
Oh, there's a Chick-fil-A game?
There's
Yeah,
a Chick-fil-A game.
we
And
get
Hey,
Chick-fil-A.
we
tell
have-
me that. No.
Yeah.
This is $1 million question. Do you guys mess with the Chick-fil-A biscuits?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes. You should see me at 9:45 trying to race to get me a chicken biscuit with a slice of pepper jack. Like it's a must. Try the slice of pepper jack.
I had a chicken sandwich with the pepper jack cheese not too long ago. Undefeated.
No. But try the biscuit.
You gotta do the biscuit.
Try the biscuit with the pepper jack.
Okay.
Oh my God, man! I have to take my clothes off when I'm eating it. I can't eat it. I can't eat the clothes.
I didn't realize this is all of a sudden now a Chick-fil-A ad.
Yeah, well, that's okay. They're sponsored.
Okay.
Yeah, they are.
Bring it, baby.
Actually, he listens to our podcast.
He does.
He owns a Chick-fil-A in Parkersburg.
Is that right?
George.
Yeah, he's a listener.
Hey.
Yeah, we found that out at the Athens
Give me a gallon of lemonade and some chicken biscuits, man.
Well, he'll hook you up.
He'll hook you up.
He hooks us up. No, he'll hook you up.
Yeah.
I'm all there. I'll talk about it, but this is sincere. That's sauce.
Yeah.
Oh,
This isn't juice. This is sauce.
Speaking
this
of
is
sauce.
sincere. This is sincere discussion. Me and that chicken biscuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a meme where I've taken OJ and the white Bronco,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
and I put above it me racing the Chick-fil-A to get there before 10 o'clock to get the chicken biscuit.
That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for your time. We
Yes,
know
thank
you
you.
have a
Thank
whole
you.
day.
Anytime you guys
you
want
have
me
a
to
whole
come
day.
in, call in, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
whatever.
We're gonna take you up on that.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah. We
I
are
got,
too.
I got jokes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see you on the 3rd.
Yes.
Yes.
for sure.
Maybe we'll have you back on the 3rd. We'll,
Yeah, that'd be
we'll
very
talk.
cool.
We'll hook up. We'll get
Yeah.
AD
Yeah.
to future
Yeah.
AD to.
No.
to-
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You got me there from the the future. That's what I
Yes,
call it.
the future.
Drew was a lot of fun. A very intriguing conversation, I thought, and he will be back in Athens, like he said. I mean, we're family now. We got the, we got the family. So he'll be back in Athens, and obviously he's very active on LinkedIn. So if any of our Bobcat listeners want to get connected with him and what he does in his work, he's very active on LinkedIn. I've already connected with him, and I think I've seen about 12 posts from him already.
Yeah.
So, but big thanks to Drew for his time. So. Other than that, what a great back to school first day back episode.
Have fun in classes, everybody.
Yeah, have fun in classes, everybody. Couldn't be us. We're not jealous of you whatsoever. But
a little bit.
yeah, I guess to be a student here again would be fun.
Yeah.
The homework, not the homework and
the work
the
is hard.
exams. Yeah,
Yeah, the work is hard.
the work is hard, but the other stuff, the social aspect of it, yeah, I understand. Allie
We
Johnston.
know you don't participate in that now.
No, not at all. I was a very well-behaved kid.
Yeah.
Allie Johnstone. Allie Johnstone's our next guest. That podcast will be out later this week.
Yep.
So yeah, thanks so much for listening, and talk to you next time.